Men of Reddit, what are some things a mom should know while raising a boy? If you and his father are not together and or you have negative feelings towards his father, don't tell him all the time how much he reminds you of his father. Also don't complain about the other parent in front of him. Not a gender issue, but seriously that can really kid, especially if both parents are still in the picture. Unless the parent is a real scumbag that is to the point the kid shouldn't be seeing them anymore. Then remember they love both of you, and if there's anything that'll cut a kid up it's feeling like they have to choose between parents. Also chances are, when he's older he's likely to just choose neither of you, and you'll wonder why he's so distant. When changing a diaper, have the new one ready and cover the ween. Cold air hits and they pee. Don't tease your sons about any female friends. It usually leads to issues with them being unable to talk to you about things when they actually do like someone. Encourage them to be adventurous, to take smart risks, and how to negotiate. Was raised by a very overprotective mother. I learned none of these things till middle age. Keep your promises, especially the small ones that are easy to let slip. And when you break or slip up on one, directly acknowledge it with them and apologize while trying to make amends. Especially, really, if they don't remember. Raising a child that keeps their word is 100% modeling, not lecture. You have to show them how to build those skills by demonstrating them daily, while reinforcing that with direct explanation of what you're doing or thinking in relevant contexts. Simply put, don't hold them or yourself to a standard of perfection or pure honesty. Expect accountability and integrity, even in failure or mistakes. It's just as important how we handle when we fail through our own mistakes as trying to avoid making them. These apply to children in general. Please explain why things are being done, like why you're going to run errands, why he has to do the dishes, why he shouldn't eat all that sugar. It's very frustrating not to know. It's also important that you reward the good things he does and punish the bad through deprivation of reward. You should also praise work ethic over talent as that's the biggest predictor of success. Edit. I don't mean a physical reward necessarily. Praise is often a good enough reward for anyone. Kids are curious. Kids need to learn all this shit anyway to live as a remotely successful adult. Because I said so. Do I look like Google? Things not to say to your kid. Mother knows best has some weight as a phrase, but should never be law in your relationship with you son. It's infuriating when trying to defend yourself or what you want, while knowing the entire time you'll get dismissed entirely. Of course you should have authority over your son, but ensure you do so respectfully. Listen to what they have to say and reflect upon what is being said. Don't take those moments your son may argue with you as time to catch your breath in between berating him. That and when he may be looking for jobs, unless you live in a small town, or the place of work has a sign regarding hiring. Everywhere does job applications online. Sending him around to every shop with a CV/resume will just be a waste of paper and time. A certain generation is under the impression that it'll show you're determined and may get you a call, where the reality is closer to oh his parents clearly told him to do this. Yeah sorry all our job stuff is online. It's good to be involved, but don't be overbearing. The most stressed out and repressed guys I knew growing up were always the ones whose mothers controlled every aspect of their lives. Also, have trust and tell him you love him. You are raising him to be a man someday. He's not your little boy forever. Don't use your kid as a shield when mommy and daddy are arguing. Edit. Phrasing. Open a savings account and chuck $10 or $20 in there a week. It will help them out a ton in the future. Actually knock and wait. They might not be masturbating, but they still like their privacy. Otherwise they lock their door, so you can't get in. They close themselves into a mental cage because you thought it was a great idea to just barge into little Timmy's room when he specifically stated that he doesn't like it when you do that. Help him to understand you can't mask Bo, especially by using half a can of deodorant. Teach him to cook. My post-college roommate had his mom cook all of his meals. It was embarrassing to watch him try to operate a kitchen when he decided he wanted to make something of his own. Teach him to cook. but only if you yourself do, in fact, know how to cook. Make sure he knows girls are also people just like him, so he doesn't be all awkward around them thinking they are some higher being. Figured that out myself after elementary school and now I can talk to anyone with ease. If you are arguing, and he retreats to his own room or outside, don't follow along continuing the argument. Young people have a hard time expressing themselves, and may need time to process their thoughts. Men are too often given the impression that they are only allowed specific responses, and unfortunately one of them is anger. As a teenager I couldn't get away from my parents when we argued, and I ended up feeling trapped. If you call for him in the other room, and he responds with yes, actually ask him to come, rather than not saying anything. When your teenage son suddenly wants to do his own laundry, let him. You do not need to be touching what he is trying to wash away. The penis grows during puberty. My mom has little knowledge of male biology. When I was like 6 or 7, she teased me that my penis was too small. Of course it's small, I'm only 6, and it grows as I grow older. PS, my wee-wee isn't small anymore. Have a healthy relationship with your husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever. Having a welcoming, stable, warm home is the very basis of being a positive influence on your children. Don't just focus on teaching him the good stuff, focus as well on being a role model for him. This is probably the best piece of advice on here. Kids, follow examples, not advice. Do as I say, not as I do, doesn't work on children. If it's shaped like a sword, it's a sword. I don't care how old you are, it's a sword. Violent games does not make your kid violent. Shooting games will not make your kid a school shooter. Don't judge his GF's looks. My mom automatically assumed all of my exes with big titties had STDs. Do not take our blankets off in the morning when you try to get us to wake up. I tell my parents I sleep naked. Ever since I started, no one enters without knocking and having an answer. They all think I'm a naturist, but complete peace of mind just by being in my room is worth it. Respect his integrity. Don't deprive him of his dignity. Don't treat his sexuality as a problem. Do absolutely not repress him emotionally. Don't have the default angle of teaching/directing be that of someone that needs to be restrained. You shape the interaction and society will reap what you sow. These are things that are habitually done to males constantly. I've not seen this one, probably because it's maybe a bit sketchy, but if the kid's got a foreskin, make sure you teach him young that he needs to clean underneath that thing. Don't wait till he's 16 and getting his first and suddenly his girlfriend is vomiting all over his crotch. This might have seemed obvious to some dudes when they were kids, but truthfully it took me too long to realize, and I've seen posts on Reddit of guys not realizing the importance of this until their freaking 30s. I'll admit, telling a 12 to 13-year-old it could be a tricky thing to breach, but if he's younger, make sure you get this through to him for God's sake. Edit. Lots of people pointing out that you shouldn't do this too early in life, or it could cause damage. Thought it'd be worth adding the edit in case people don't read the replies underneath. When he's 8 years old, if he accidentally sets fire to the living room rug, go easy on him. It's commonly thought that our fathers dictate how we see women, but you will be our first and greatest ideal of a woman. Don't screw that up. Spend time with us, and get dad of the boy to spend time with him too. Just spend time together. Have him help you all with various tasks. Just spend time together, it's extremely important. Most men are task orientated and this isn't really different while we are growing up. Don't drop hints. Don't get angry at your son not taking hints. Give him an actual instruction. Once you've finished what you're doing, can you take the bins out for me? Will get a much better response than take the bins out now, and a much better response than no never helps out around the house. The bins are getting full. Guess I'll do it myself. Even if you're frustrated or feel that way, give tasks, not hints, and in doing so make sure they're aware that their current task/interest isn't any less important than your frustration. Of course, this is different if it's the second, third, fourth time you've asked, but never lead with the hint or the do it now. Also, we tend to queue up tasks in our heads. If you ask us to do something, then something else, and something else, we will mentally plan what we are going to do, and give it an order of importance, and get to the jobs in that order. If you ask us to take out the bins, change the bulb in the kitchen and push the hoover around, don't nag us about the other 2 tasks while we are doing one of them. We are likely just doing it in the order that makes sense in our heads, even if it doesn't make sense in yours. Ladies, this applies to most of your husbands as well. If you want something to be done, ask for it to be done. Don't hint, don't command. Ask, and 9 times out of 10 it will get done, providing they were raised even slightly right. Don't use their room as a punishment. They should feel comfortable and safe there. It is okay to be sad and even cry. You just cannot use it as a weapon. Don't shame them for touching themselves. Just explain that it is something they should only do when they are alone. This is for all kids. Tell them that you love to pretend Santa is real. This allows them to engage in the spirit of the season, not spoil it for other kids, while not be lying to them. Apologize when you are wrong. When they fall and get hurt, your initial reaction should be like whatever they did was really exciting. When they start showing sadness, then be quick to comfort.